Joining me now here in Washington, John McCain's good friend, Senator Lindsey Graham. Welcome again to Fox News Sunday.
Thank you for having me.
You are speaking today at the private ceremony at the U.S. Naval Academy, your tribute. First of all, how are you doing? And secondly, what are you going to say?
Well, I'm doing okay. These things help. Thank you to everybody who's called and asked me how I'm doing. Cindy and everybody else around the family has helped me as much as I've helped them, probably more. So I want to say that nobody loved the soldier more than John McCain, that I bear witness to his commitment to have their back, travel where they go, never let them be forgotten. The public may be tired of this war called the war on terrorism, but John McCain never was, and he had their back and he gave them what they needed to win a fight we can't afford to lose. And he was willing to lose a political race but not a war. So I'm going to talk about all my travels with the troops and how much they love John McCain.
I have to ask you about the passionate, heartfelt, but sometimes angry tribute by Meghan McCain, who took some pretty clear shots at President Trump. Here's a clip.
We gather here to mourn the passing of American greatness. The real thing, not cheap rhetoric from men who will never come near the sacrifice he gave so willingly, nor the opportunistic appropriation of those who live lives of comfort and privilege while he suffered and served.
Was that appropriate? Was it fair?
If you say something bad about Meghan's father, you will know it. She didn't like it. So it's okay. She's grieving. All I can say is there's a lesson to be learned this week about John McCain. Number one, Americans appreciate military service. If you've learned nothing this week, you know the fact that John served our country in extraordinary circumstances was appreciated by everybody. What else do we know? That if you work hard and do your homework and know what you're talking about, people will listen to you. That if you pick big causes, bigger than yourself, you'll be remembered. He tried to drain the swamp before it was cool. That you can fight hard and still be respected. If you forgive, people appreciate it. And if you admit to mistakes, you're looked at as a stronger man. That's the formula of John McCain. This was a civics lesson for anybody who wanted to listen. Why do we remember this man? Because of the way he conducted his public life.
And do you think there's a lesson there for President Trump?
There's a lesson here for everybody, including President Trump. Everybody makes mistakes. Those who admit it are seen by the public as bigger, not smaller. Know what you're talking about. Fight hard, forgive, and have passion. Strength and kindness are not mutually exclusive.
Let's turn to your day job. And this week, you're going to be spending a lot of time as a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee in confirmation hearings for Judge Brett Kavanaugh to be confirmed to the Supreme Court. First of all, does he have the votes to win confirmation of the court?
If he does well at the hearing, he will get, my belief is 55 or higher. If he does well, and I'm sure he will do well.
When you say 55, you've got to have 51 Republicans with the appointment of McCain's replacement. So you're saying as many as 4 Democrats?
Well, that's 55. Last time
that's
I
what
checked. Yeah, I'm not good at math, but yeah, I think there are a handful of Democrats who will vote for Judge Kavanaugh if he does well, and maybe even more. A lot of people should vote for Judge Kavanaugh. If you're looking to a Republican president to pick a qualified conservative, he would be on the top of anyone's list, including not just Donald Trump. He's the one person I think every Republican president would see as the most qualified of their generation.
Democrats say that the confirmation should be delayed until we know whether or not there's going to be either a criminal prosecution of President Trump or impeachment proceedings against President Trump. Here is Senator Dick Durbin, who's going to be on the program next.
We should be withholding this decision on the Supreme Court nominee until the air is cleared and we know exactly where we stand when it comes to this president and his culpability.
Given that his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, says the candidate Trump in 2016 directed him to commit a crime, does Senator Durbin have a point?
Well, it wasn't the point he had when Clinton was under investigation. We approved Justice Breyer. So my Democratic friends did not have this view when Clinton was president.
Yeah, well, you should point out, I'm going to bring it up, with Senator Durbin, 1994, Clinton is under investigation by an independent counsel on Whitewater, and he was nominated, and Senator Stephen Breyer was confirmed to the court.
Well, Senator Grassley's been very fair. More documents given than any person ever nominated to the Supreme Court. We're going to have a hearing. There's no drama in this hearing. The only drama is those running for president. How will they handle this hearing on the Democratic side? We're going to get this good man confirmed.
Let me ask you, though, about this question of criminal liability. I want to look at some of Kavanaugh's statements on that issue. Let's put them up. In 1999, Kavanaugh said the Nixon ruling that President Nixon had to turn over all of the White House Watergate tapes may have been, quote, wrongly decided. In 2009, Kavanaugh wrote, criminal investigations take the president's focus away from his or her responsibilities to the people. Is there a legitimate concern that Justice Kavanaugh, if he were faced with a case on the Supreme Court, would side with the president against either Congress or the courts?
Well, what I think you'll find is somebody's had 308 decisions, so you can get a pretty good idea of what he thinks based on his time on the Court of Appeals. But the bottom line here is that most people are unsure as to whether or not a president can be indicted, a sitting president. Impeachment is a process to remove a president. The criminal liability aspects are very much in debate. I think he's going to be mainstream in his thinking. He's going to look at both sides of the issue and decide appropriately.
One issue that pro-choice senators of both sides have pressed Kavanaugh on in their meetings with him on Capitol Hill is abortion. And Kavanaugh reportedly told them that Roe v. Wade is, quote, settled law. Is that a firm commitment in your view, to not to overturn Roe? And if it is a firm commitment, how can you, as a pro-life senator, support it?
I wouldn't vote for anybody who said that no, every decision of the Supreme Court cannot be revisited. They're revisited through a process. There's a process of overturning long precedent. There's a four-part test you have to apply. From my point of view, what he will do is when that case comes, if it ever does, you just don't wake up one day and say, hey, I'd like to overturn Roe v. Wade. If there's a conflict that makes it to the Supreme Court, he will apply the test of precedent to that decision, Roe v. Wade, and every other precedent.
But to make it clear, you're saying you don't view his statement, for instance, as Senator Collins, a pro-choice Republican, that it's settled law means that therefore it can't be re-examined and conceivably overturned.
He would be disqualified, in my opinion, if he would not listen to both sides of the story and decide accordingly. This idea that Roe v. Wade is going to be challenged at state level. There are all kind of laws out there. Some may work up their way up to the Supreme Court. He will give great deference, I'm sure, to Roe v. Wade, but it can be overturned like every other decision, but that will be up to the facts and the record.
Senator Grimm, thank you. Thanks for your time on a tough week, and our deepest sympathies on the loss of a dear friend, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Joining me now